Okay, we have a transportation delay here for our legal representation for this meeting, so we're going to postpone the meeting for about 10 minutes, okay?
Sounds good. We'll use the restroom.
There you go. Calling the meeting to order. Thank you very much. I'd like to have roll call, please.
Commissioner Barquette is absent. Commissioner Duffy,
Present.
Commissioner Page,
Present.
Commissioner Sawyer,
Present.
Commissioner Stevens is absent as well. Excused. Commissioner Trezza
Here.
and Chairman Atwater.
Present.
5 commissioners present. It does constitute a quorum.
Thank you very much. Item 3, Stockton Port District Board reorganization. Okay, my term is coming to an end, and we have our consequent board reorganization. Could someone please review the structure? Is that basically,
Usually the vice chairman becomes chair.
I would like to nominate, if I
There you
could,
go.
sir, that Mr. Sawyer become chairman and Anthony Barquette become vice chair.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There being none, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Opposed by Sawyer.
Sorry, you'd still lose that one. Okay. Consent calendar. Are there any items on the consent calendar that need to be considered separately? Okay.
I would give consent calendar.
Motion by Duffy,
Oh, any public comments on the consent calendar? None.
there
online
being
as well.
none, okay. Second on the consent calendar, second by Sawyer. All those in favor of approving the consent calendar as it stands?
Aye.
Opposed? There being no opposed, consideration passes unanimously. Very much, okay. Item 6,
Ron?
Okay. Good afternoon. Rod Iwashita, Director of Engineering and Facilities for the Port. Today, we are asking the board to authorize the Port Director to execute a contract with the Gordian Group to support the Port's efforts to develop, implement, and run a successful job order contracting, or JOC, program. We propose a contract term of 3 years with 2 one-year options to extend the contract. The service contract does not oblige the port to use JOC for any particular work. Rather, the port can use the JOC contract as much or as little as needed and will only pay for services rendered. Next slide. Sorry. So the JOC definition is, it's an indefinite quantity contract with a contractor. It enables owners or the port to complete a substantial number of individual projects with a single competitively awarded bid. There's a lot of time savings on that over a 5-year period. The construction tasks are based on preset costs in a unit price book or a construction task catalog. The contractor's bid and adjustment factor, excuse me, to be applied to the contract task catalog, resulting in on-call contracts, competitively bid and awarded to contractors that are available to perform the work at agreed-upon prices. So the port will run a procurement process to select JOC prime contractors. And the JOC program manager, Gordian, will help the port set up the JOC program. This includes outreach to interested local parties, education on the JOC program, developing port-specific construction tasks for inclusion in the construction task catalog, supporting development of the selection criteria for the JOC contractors, and helping the port evaluate proposals. Like I said, there's no upfront charge for the JOC program setup. Gordian charges 5% of a project cost for administering the program, and an additional 5.995% for construction management services. Once the project is set up, or the program is set up, the JOC program manager will help to organize each job contractor's response, and this includes helping define project scope, confirming the JOC contractor's bid, performing construction management, documenting project requirements, and performing project closeout. So there are a variety of construction procurement methods available, and each serves a purpose and can be effective. Job order contracting is an alternative method for procuring construction. It's not meant to replace any of the methods on this, other methods on the screen. For an agency with a significant amount of deferred maintenance, we experience a significant number of age and wear-related events that require urgent action and involve more resources than our in-house maintenance staff can provide. The JOC program offers quick response and transparent pricing to address straightforward repair and maintenance issues. Typical uses would be for roadway repair, roofing or waterproofing repair, concrete repair, and dock repair. The limits of authority remain. So for projects that are bid and above the construction threshold of director's authority, we'll have to come back to the board for authorization for each of those projects. Okay. So we've got a slide here showing some of the benefits to using a JOC program, and I won't go through them, but I'll personally vouch for the effectiveness of the JOC program based on my time as Chief Harbor Engineer at the Port of San Francisco. We doubled the number of construction and repair projects completed when we started using the JOC contracts through the Public Works Department. The collaborative nature of the process is very appealing, and it ends up being in the contractor's best interest to perform well so that they can position themselves for subsequent work. Okay. And so our recommendation is to authorize the port director to execute a contract with the Gordian Group to support the port's efforts to develop, implement, and run a successful job order contracting program. We propose to engage Gordian through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program with board approval today. And that's my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
Who worked with you on, you had said the staff, you had a team, who worked with you on this project?
Well, I've been dealing with our procurement and finance department to make sure that we're following our own procurement guidelines.
All right.
Yeah.
And I have one recommendation. I'm not sure how many providers you reviewed, but for the sake of the board and our due diligence, it might be nice to say, these are the reasons we picked Gordian.
Oh,
Now, it might have been buried in the
it's-
text, but it's nice to have it at the
Sure.
conclusion. That
So-
would be helpful.
yeah, so Gordian is the originator of JOC contracting. The other company that we spoke with is FOS. They were an offshoot of Gordian a few years ago, and they hold the current and my experience is with Gordian at City of San Francisco, but FOS now handles the JOC contract for City and County of San Francisco. So we spoke to both of them, and it was a combination of me, our Director of Finance, Procurement, and a couple of my construction managers who went through kind of the interview process. And the reason we selected Gordian is they actually are contracted through Sourcewell to provide construction management services. And that's a real appealing benefit for the port. You know, we only have 2 construction managers right now. If we start increasing the number of construction projects, it would be difficult to staff that construction management. So for 5.95%, we're getting a Gordian staff person to provide all the construction management services for
But
us.
it's 5% above that, right? So it's 11.9?
It's 10.95, 11% basically. Yeah,
Okay.
And they would do the management side as well?
yes, that's what the 5% is for.
So there's only two major players in that field?
That I, found,
Okay.
there's,
So I don't know anything about it, that's why I
yeah,
asked.
yeah.
Who else besides San Francisco is using this, they have
Um,
hundreds of clients across the California and the West?
Well, okay, so, let me see, I've got some more slides here, I was anticipating a few questions. Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, Cal State Universities. San Joaquin County is not on this slide, but they're a client of Gordian, Monterey County, City of San Luis Obispo. So it is, there are a number, and I think,
I think
You
you
can see
mentioned the county in your dissertation. You included it.
oh, yeah, San Joaquin County.
Is there an effort to to get contractors within San Joaquin County, or what, is there any provision for that, or is it, because I saw you said the low bid was the one who,
So, yeah, and so it kind of makes sense that a local contractor is going to be very competitive in a process like this, because they're not spending money to ship people out from, LA or something to do work. That makes construction projects more expensive. So I know that there are experienced jock contractors in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm sure there are a number here in the county or in the valley. And what we're going to do, what Gordian wants to do is do a bunch of outreach, basically. And so they'll be announcing this and doing their outreach to the local contractors and providing education on what jock programs are and how they operate. And yeah, so I think the answer is yes, we will have local contractor involvement.
Would that be some kind of contractual requirement or request or something like, some commitment from them that they would choose local contractors over, say, people from LA or the Bay Area?
I think, well, my understanding of how it would work is if they can, it's the low bid, so there's this adjustment factor. So if you can figure out how to get the lowest adjustment factor in your contract, we're gonna be selected. And to be clear, I foresee us issuing maybe 5 of these contracts, maybe 5 or 6 contracts. So there's, it's not just a one low bid that is going to be, picked here. So I think that increases local chances for local involvement.
Do we have ultimate say on who's picked, or is Gordian?
We do. The port is running the procurement. Gordian is helping us and
Gotcha.
helping us do the evaluation, but in the end, it's the port. And, yeah, it's the port that makes this decision.
I presume the county's happy with, or is this a new thing for the county as well?
Oh, I haven't talked to anybody at the county. I know, San Francisco is happy with the JOC process, and Gordian is a very highly regarded company in this space.
Can you take me through the cost-benefit analysis of having this placed in there? Because I can't tell if these are replacement costs, like the 11%, if that's replacement, or if you're thinking that the whole process is so efficient that we'll make up the 11% that we're adding over the top of things.
So typically, this is for a very kind of specific set of projects, right? That are very straightforward, that don't require a lot of engineering design to happen. Typically on port construction projects, I believe we've been paying about 15% of the construction price for just construction management. So being able to pay 5.95% is a savings right there. Not having to pay for full design of a roadway section because we're working with a contractor who knows what he's doing, saves us money and time on the front end. So that's, I don't have hard numbers for a cost-benefit analysis. I think there was a slide, but in general, that is the benefit that we get. It's time, it is not having to over-engineer anything, and we are saving, personnel costs by just paying for the construction manager per project.
Generally speaking, we're saving 10% on the CM
This is
per,
what
per,
I'm
per
looking
project, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we're saving,
You're looking at your cost benefit, you took that 10%, you said, we're gonna save that. by
we're saving a
doing
little less than 10% per project just on the construction management alone. Yep.
The other savings is very likely going to be in our procurement process, where we're going to do this procurement once, and instead of running procurements for every single repair project that we have to do, that takes up a lot of staff time. So operationally, we're also saving money, assuming we utilize this program really often.
And this is just another tool, it's not something we have to use.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Is there a threshold where it's where you think it's mandatory, or best?
So, I think of it as if a project or something happens at the port that could be done, that's too big to be done by our own maintenance staff, but it's straightforward enough, like, roof replacement, or, roof repair, or dock repair, and it doesn't require complex or complicated engineering design. This is where I would look at. So it's kind of in between kind of the things that we can handle by ourselves and below the kinds of projects that really require thought and energy.
So it's an optional program that fills in that gap.
Yes, exactly.
I like the optional nature of it,
Yeah.
like where we can make the choice and we can follow up with that, yeah.
Right. And if we find out, I have every confidence that this is gonna work, but if we find that it is not working for the port, we can just stop using it and not have to pay Gordian.
Yes.
So you can benchmark it, show us what we're saving, like 6 months from now, 12 months from now, right? You can show us the great
I
results
can
in
show
12
you, I
months
think
from
what
now.
I can show you is how many construction projects or repair projects we've gotten going.
That's a time element in the
Yeah,
business,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you can also show the savings in the future.
Yes, I think we could apply that 15% CM, to a construction cost and show that, if
Versus-
we're only paying, 5.95%.
The 15's pretty standard, huh?
It has been for us.
So this gets back to the question of local contractors. It talks about pre-qualified contractors when you sent this out. Is that, do they get their pre-qualified, and is there something that we need to do to make sure that local folks have access to be pre-qualified?
So I think what we're talking about is notification and outreach. I can't guarantee, and I don't know, I don't know how we would, guarantee that we have local contractor involvement, but I can just, the way it makes sense is that if you have, say, an electrical repair that you're trying to do, that you would call a local electrician who's not gonna charge you for mobilization, for housing, for all of their transportation costs. I think it just works out that way.
We could go back and for those moderate repairs and projects that we have around the port over the past 3 to 5 years, we could certainly send out a letter saying, hey, we're doing this now. Please put your hat in the ring, or please get involved with this, with Gordian Group to
Well, yeah, we'll
jump
give that
in.
list.
That would be, we could get that from our procurement people in your department and notify everyone to get in there and,
Yeah, my concern just becomes one that is more natural in certain places. Once you have your preferred vendor, your preferred contractors for immediate use, that's who you use because it's part of the secret sauce, right? And I want to make sure that nobody locally gets cut out, that the
Yes.
opportunity is here, and we haven't done something to sideline those folks that should be working on the projects if they come in at the
Right,
right
so
price.
if we were to have 5 separate contracts for jock contractors, for primes, I would assume that we are rotating the request, as long as, you know, somebody's not particularly suited to a particular project. But I'm assuming with 5 general jock contractors that we'll be able to rotate requests. And, you know, if somebody is particularly easy to work with and does a good job, you know, I think we would want to go back and work with them again. And if somebody is difficult or, you know, we might think twice about asking them a second time around, or they might fall down the list.
We'll still have the flexibility, just as if we are doing an RFP,
Right.
picking the, based on location,
Lowest.
price, whatever it might be.
Lowest responsive bidder as well.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it's being competitively bid up front, right? So I think that's where this price differential will kick in, because yes, I'm assuming that somebody from the Bay Area or LA is gonna have to increase their adjustment factor, have a higher adjustment factor than somebody who is local.
Any other comments?
Public
Are there any questions from the public or thoughts from the public on this project, this agenda items? No, nobody from Gordian to speak?
They are online, I believe, but I didn't think it was necessary. Again, I'm vouching for the program personally. I've used it to great effect in San Francisco, and I think it's just a good program. And again, and there's no risk to us at this point, right? We can, even if we adopt it, if we decide that it is not for us moving forward, we don't have to use it.
It's
This is money out of our
voluntary.
pocket.
I like the optionality of the program. Director? No other comments?
No, sir.
Okay, is there a motion?
Move. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any committee reports? Okay. Port Director comments, sir.
Just one. So as Chairman Atwater mentioned, this is his last meeting as chairman, but also, we think, his last meeting as a commissioner. So I
Yes.
wanted to mention a couple of highlights. So he was appointed February 23rd, 2022 by the County Board of Supervisors, appointed as vice chairman on February 18th, 2025, and then took over as chairman on May 5th of 2025. During his tenure, we signed a lease agreement with Sierra Logistics, which is the Home Depot, which is going up right now. That was December of 2023. April 2024, we are awarded a rail rehabilitation upgrade project just over $12 million. April 25, we celebrated the modems terminal with BWC, the ribbon cutting ceremony. August 25, we are awarded the EPA Clean Ports Grant in excess of $129 million. November 25, we acquired the Kennedy Flag Lot. And we also approved numerous infrastructure projects during his tenure: road repairs, sewer line repairs, rehabilitation of this building, and many other things. So we wanted to thank you for your time and your leadership as chairman. So thank you very much. And we have a small token of our appreciation.
Since my family business has been in the port since 1947, and I've always taken an active interest in the port, and I know the Neste and other renewable fuels imports, I was kind of involved in the beginnings of that, in introducing to Rick renewable fuels imports, the previous director. I've always been keenly interested in the port because I know my grandfather and his wife and my mom and uncle lived in what is now the Marathon Terminal Tool Room when they started our business 77 years ago. So it's been always interesting, and I always wanted to be a part of the port, and thank you very much for that. It's a significant part of my life, and I'll always remember it fondly, and I really appreciate it and appreciate the camaraderie and the mentorship from people like Duffy and Bill Trezza. Thank you very much for your involvement in educating me a little more on banking and stuff and how it affects the port, and I thank the staff especially.
Thank you.
Any other commission comments?
David, I want to thank you for your service, and a couple comments here. You know, your skills have meant so much to us here. Your long history with the port and your in-depth understanding of what goes on, not just in your business, but of the whole complex in the area. And that has really helped us to get through some things, and I think to better our strategic planning coming in the future as we're going into the future now. So, but your commitment to the public and your commitment to doing the right thing at the right time for the benefit of the people of Stockton. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate your style and your service. So thank you very much, sir. Sorry to see you leave.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You know, the port is really important to San Joaquin County and the city of Stockton especially. I hope it continues to be the centerpiece, the economic activity for this area, and be a positive influence for and a center of growth economically for the city and county. I hope we don't. I hope we stay port focused and not get into other sidebars and things like that that can so distract from the operations and the effectiveness of the port. We need to keep our business-like demeanor and not become something other than an engine for growth and transactions around the world that benefit the United States of America, California, San Joaquin County, and Stockton. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for your service.
We'll miss you, David.
Thank you. We'll miss you too, and I'll be around maybe sometime I'll be out here fighting for what's right for the port.
Public comments?
Public comments, you bet. Oh boy, I know who to write letters to. So, okay, moving right along. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items? I think there are. So on behalf of the Port of Stockton Port District Board of Commissioners, may I take this opportunity to mention that the commission welcomes any member of the public to speak during board meetings. Public comment should be directed to the chairman of the board, that's me, and should relate to items that fall within the jurisdiction of the port. It is requested that speakers identify themselves by name. Please complete the comment form that is on the podium for this purpose. Also, each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes for comments. As a courtesy, after 2 minutes, the speaker will be advised that their time is concluding. And here we go. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Mary Elizabeth, Delta Sierra Group. So I would also like to say that I appreciate the way that you have run the meetings, and not all chairs run the meetings the same, and I appreciate your effort to make it welcome for people to come in. So I submitted a comment letter here detailing, my involvement in getting more information about fly ash hazards. So I was contacted by a member of the AB 617 steering committee, very concerned about fly ash and fly ash contamination of the area. So I sent information that the Delta Sierra Group had already put together regarding the former Lehigh cement facility, which outlined the hazards of fly ash and what the Delta Sierra Group's position was on fly ash. And then I contacted the port, and I was directed to the operations manager, who provided me information regarding the ship that was there to unload fly ash. And I was informed that the unloading process utilized the same mechanisms as any bulk process. I was provided with a safety data sheet for the fly ash, which outlines the hazards and personal protective materials that might be required. And I did have some questions. I also provided a summary of the very complex permitting structure that the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District, which is the regulatory agency that is charged with air quality in our area here.
1 minute.
And questions here. Who is monitoring continuously whether or not all permit conditions are complied with? How can the Port of Stockton help with informing the public about these matters? And so this information was conveyed during a public meeting of the Stockton Unified School District Trustee Board. And we ask that we schedule a meeting to discuss these concerns as well as other concerns related to hazardous materials at the port. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comments on non-agenda items? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My name's Steve Larson. I am the founder of K9 Love Adventures, where we groom dogs for the homeless at no charge to the homeless. And I just want to start out by saying how much, I could not agree more with how much I appreciate the opportunity that the city council, that you commissioners give the community an opportunity to speak. That is amazing. Mr. Trezza, you were my board of directors when I was the CEO of United Cerebral Palsy, right? So I can go around this room, Mr. De Jesus, you were my boss when I was with the Port of Stockton, right? So these are a great table of amazing leaders and so on. They really are. I have to ask you to caution on bringing in a new product. So I can talk about it personally. My daughter, my son, and my granddaughter lived in Box Tract. They lived on 50th and a half in Lincoln Street. They lived there for 7 years until they could finally get enough money to move. So this entire Box Tract community is a fairly impoverished community. They don't have a lot of money. So if you asked them to move, they'd be like, with what? So when you go to my daughter's house, it's covered in coal dust. It's covered in white dust. And now you're going to bring on a whole new product? You're going to bring on a brand new, are you kidding me? Why don't you put it on Dock 18? Why are we doing it at Dock 2? And not only that, but not only are you going to go ahead and cover more of your community with this, I'm going to tell you right now, it is nothing but poison. It really isn't. And when you go into your house, you can't keep it out of your house. When I go into my daughter's house, it's inside the house. I don't care if the doors are closed, the windows are closed, makes no difference. Somehow, this product seems to get into your home. They're bringing in cement. And so there's chromium-6 in this.
1 minute.
There's silica in this. This is really bad stuff. I'm not saying you shouldn't bring it in, because it makes a lot of sense from a financial point of view. Cement is a phenomenal income producer for the Port of Stockton. It is. It brings in a lot of money. These are kind of the products that do bring in a lot of money. It makes money for the port. I get it. But do we got to put it at Dock 2? And now, just think about this now. all the trucks are now coming in. So the whole goal was to take the trucks out of box tract. Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Fly ash and Dock 2, you're gonna bring in more trucks into box tract, not less trucks. So you're gonna bring in all of these type of trucks. It's not that it's a, take the product and put it on our tenants.
Time's up.
Don't put it on our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Just sign in. Okay. I'd like to thank the commission and the chairman for the opportunity to comment publicly at this meeting. My name is Kylene Elias, and I'm the Director of Environmental Affairs for Cal Portland Company. We hear community concerns, so thank you, Steve, and thank you, Mary. And I'd like to take the opportunity to clarify items around the import of fly ash coming in. So Cal Portland is both a producer and an importer of cement and supplementary cementitious materials. Cement and, say, SEMs are combined with water, sand, gravel, and aggregate to create concrete, an essential building material for California. So fly ash is not a hazardous waste and is one of the most widely utilized supplementary cementitious materials globally. It has been incorporated into concrete for nearly a century and has supported large infrastructure projects such as the Hoover Dam, in addition to concrete that's used for everyday projects. So the cement or the concrete that you walked on today to get here very likely contains fly ash. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency supports the beneficial reuse of fly ash in concrete, and its use is a vital component of achieving California's net zero carbon goals, net zero by 2045, as it directly results in lower greenhouse gas emissions per ton of concrete. At our facility, the handling and unloading of fly ash complies with air permits issued by the San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District. The unloading process, as mentioned earlier, is identical to that of cement, and our operations meet best available control technology for both particulate matter and toxic air contaminants. That means that all of our storage areas, conveyors, and transfer points are enclosed and vented to a fabric filter vac house system. So safety is our highest priority at Cal Portland. We remain committed to working collaboratively with the port and with longshore workers to ensure that all unloading procedures meet applicable health, safety, and environmental standards. So in closing, we appreciate the opportunity to provide these clarifications to the Commission, and we do remain committed to transparent communication with the port, the community, and all stakeholders. We look forward to continuing our work together to support safe operations, environmental stewardship, and the region's infrastructure needs. Thank you very much.
Are there any other comments? No public comments? Okay, public comment period is concluded. With that, we are going into closed session. We have representation here.
I had a comment on the closed item.
Yeah, we'll do it now. Go
And
ahead.
do it now.
Mary Elizabeth, Delta Sierra Group, and a member of the AB 617 Steering Committee. And my comment was in relation to the 1002 Embarcadero, Stockton, California, which looking at negotiating a property transaction. So when I looked it up, that was the Nautilus Data Center, if that's correct, Chair. And if it is, I just would like to see some more public information in regarding their electricity use, as well as their discharge temperature data into the San Joaquin River Deepwater Channel. So that information has not been forthcoming, and I just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Interesting. Okay, any other public comments about any items? We are now going into closed session. In accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, an executive session will be conducted pursuant to Government Code 54956.8, and you are our representation, correct? Okay.
In 1845, when Charles Weber acquired a 49,000-acre parcel from his luckless business partner in exchange for paying off his grocery bill, he couldn't have anticipated what awaited him 3 years later.
During the gold rush, Argonauts could come to Stockton en route to what were known as the Southern Mines. But the principal artery for transportation and the fastest way to travel was via water.
There was no Stockton in those early days. There was Charles Weber's tent town on the San Joaquin River that served as a jumping-off point for the gold fields.
He realized that the San Joaquin River was going to be the principal aid in developing his city, and Charles Weber was able to attract enough business people to establish hotels and restaurants and freight companies, and they would cater to the wants and needs of the miners. Those who did not make their fortune, in many instances, had been farmers in their previous lives. And coming back into Stockton or Sacramento, took a look around the Central Valley and realized there was great agricultural potential.
We're in San Joaquin County. This is the most productive agricultural area really in the world. You grow corn, wheat, almonds, walnuts, fruit, a whole host of different commodities feeding the world. You couldn't have the unique agricultural environment we have without the river. That is what allowed this state to turn from a gold mining state, if you will, to a food state.
California's Central Valley is blessed with the best soil there is. Back then, the problem was less about growing the food than it was getting it to market. Without a statewide railroad system or even decent roads, Stockton was in a strategic position to be a hub, connecting the valley by river to San Francisco.
From gold rush days, riverboats carried passengers and cargo on a daily basis between Stockton, Sacramento, and San Francisco.
With the Central Pacific Railroad's completion of a branch line in 1869, connecting Stockton with the Transcontinental Railroad, the city's vision as a trade and transportation hub began to materialize, except for one critical issue.
There were rather tortuous waterways leading from San Francisco to Stockton, weaving and turning through the islands. And because of hydraulic mining, there was a lot of sedimentation of these river areas, and so it was becoming rather shallow.
In addition, ships were getting larger with deeper drafts, leaving the river's shallow depth a barrier to ocean-going vessels. If the region was going to grow with the times, it had to tame the twisting passage through the delta. Even though no single individual gets credit for proposing a dredged shipping channel, it was Lieutenant Colonel Barton Stone Alexander who drew up the plan in 1870 that showed it was feasible.
They kind of choked at the projected $8 million price tag of such a ship canal. And so it continued to be a festering problem for the city of Stockton, being cut off from that ocean-going transportation.
Other countries hungered for California products, not just grains, nuts, and cotton, but manufactured goods too. the opportunity for trade was undeniable.
When a product moves and how it moves is all dependent on where the destination is. The ship behind me is actually loading rice that's going to Japan. Rice would not be able to get to Japan if it didn't use port facilities, because it doesn't make economic sense to ship the kind of tonnage that one ship can hold in another way, like, say, maybe in an aircraft.
Stockton's residents remained convinced their future lay in a navigable ship channel. So in 1925, they passed a $3 million bond toward its construction. The state and feds later added more funds that finally set the project in motion. Work began in 1930. Dredges began removing millions of cubic yards of river bottom. Clamshell dredges piled the mud and rock to make levees that formed the new channel, opening acres of delta islands for farmland. Despite the Great Depression and Hitler's rise in Germany, in Stockton, church bells rang and automobile horns blared. It was 1933, and more than 1,000 people celebrated the arrival of the Daisy Gray, the first deep draft vessel to arrive at Stockton's new port using the new channel. It was the start of a new era.
The local responsibility was to develop the facilities. So they developed the docks, the warehousing, the rail connection, many of which we're actually still using today. In my opinion, rail facilities are just as important to the success of a port as a dock.
Central California Traction Company has been in business for more than 100 years. We are a small railroad that basically does all the railroad switching on the Port of Stockton, and we're going all day long. We get rail cars from two major railroads, Burlington Northern and Union Pacific, and we get those cars, separate them all out, take them to the customers, let them unload them or load them, and then take them back and give them to those Class 1 railroads. The port is a busy place, and they've got ships coming in, they've got trucks coming in, and if we didn't have the railroad here, you wouldn't be able to get enough trucks in over the road infrastructure that they have.
When the United States mobilized to fight in World War II, Stockton's port facility became an integral part of the war effort. The United States Army took over the Port of Stockton, and it became the largest vehicle and parts consignment center in the entire United States. The harbor overflowed with 10,000 workers, loading merchant vessels and assembling as many as 125 ships for the war effort, from tugs to minesweepers.
In 1944, the United States Navy took over what was known as Rough and Ready Island and turned it into a naval complex. And the Navy held on to this area up until the year 2000, when Rough and Ready Island and all of its developments were turned over to the Port of Stockton.
Rough and Ready Island tripled the size of the port overnight. It added warehousing and open land that the Port of Stockton never had before. The acquisition really helped us to be able to provide additional space for tenants to develop their own projects.
Yara North America chose this location for its central location in the valley. We were able to lease a piece of the land here and build this facility and move our operation from another location that was less profitable and less convenient, so to speak. Keeps us competitive, keeps our costs down, and keeps us profitable, which is really what we're all about.
The presence of global companies reflects the port's role in world commerce. Cargo crossing the docks has grown 176% in less than 10 years, making the Port of Stockton the fourth busiest port in California.
I've seen the port get extremely busy. I was working when there would be maybe one ship every 2-3 weeks. Now we have 2-3 ships every day coming in. It's just booming.
While the port is responsive to world markets and international trade trends, it's also tied to the local community with a responsibility to its neighbors.
Today, the port supports more than 10,000 jobs, what I like to call family wage jobs, to become a major part of the economic foundation of Stockton and the greater San Joaquin County area. The port actually makes a major contribution through tax revenues that go into every facet of every service that's provided by the city of Stockton or San Joaquin County.
The port absolutely is part of the community. The waterway is not just only our ship channel. It is part of the Delta, it is part of the Pacific Flyway, it is a recreation area, it is a fishery. One of the latest commitments the port has made is we have joined the Green Marine program. It looks at how ports and how maritime operations are being handled to reduce your impacts on the environment. At Antioch Dunes National Wildlife Refuge, we are working to restore the habitat for 3 species by placing sand material that comes out of our dredging each year. It's been an extremely successful project. The owls were here when we took over Rough and Ready. You know, the rodents like to burrow holes in our levees, and we use the owls, the Air Force, if you want to call them, to come in and reduce the rodent population. This wonderful group, Puentes, came to us, and they wanted to develop a community garden. And we thought it was a wonderful idea.
We belong to a church in Sacramento, and a lot of the people are elderly and are really in need. So we thought once we start harvesting, we'll go and bless people so that way the people that can't get out, they'll have their fresh veggies delivered right to them. The power of one little seed to help people live more sustainable lives. Yeah, that's our goal.
It could be asked, what's a maritime port got to do with community gardening, or saving endangered species, or running a tiny service railroad, or any of a host of novel undertakings? It's being innovative, it's being responsive, it's being unique. But then, a bustling port 75 miles inland from the coast is unique. That's the Port of Stockton, cast in a different mold from its start as a gold rush depot upriver. Doing what's
Okay. The port. Microphone's on, sorry. The Port Commission took no formal reportable action during the closed session. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.